The room you woke up in this morning was not real, not exactly. Before your eyes had even finished opening, your brain had already drawn it for you. Walls, ceiling, the shape of the door, a confident guess dressed up as fact. You have never once truly seen your own bedroom. You have only ever seen your brain's best prediction of it. That sounds impossible. It is not. For decades, the assumption was simple. Your eyes work like a camera. Light comes in, an image forms, and your brain just displays it. The way a screen displays a feed. Clean, honest, direct, a straight line from the world to your mind. That model is wrong. Your eyes do not send pictures to your brain. They send fragments, blurry edges, flickers of light and motion, gaps, including one gap so large you have never noticed it once in your entire life. Your brain takes those fragments and does something far stranger than simply displaying them. It guesses first, it builds a scene, and only afterward checks that scene against the scraps of light actually landing on your retina. You are not seeing the world. You are seeing your brain's prediction of the world, updated just quickly enough that you never catch it in the act. Why would evolution build a brain that lies to you constantly? Because the truth is too slow. In 1867, a German physicist and physician named Hermann von Helmholtz proposed something radical for his era. He called it unconscious inference. Your brain, he argued, is not a passive recorder of reality. It is a prediction machine, constantly guessing what is out there based on past experience, adjusting only when a guess is proven wrong. Helmholtz had no brain scanner to prove it. He simply noticed that human perception broke in ways a camera never would. Optical illusions, blind spots, moments where what your eyes received and what you actually experienced did not match at all. He was right. It just took until this century for neuroscience to catch up to him. Modern researchers like Anil Seth describe your conscious experience as a controlled hallucination, not an insult, a literal description. Your brain is hallucinating the world around you right now, constrained by the thin trickle of sensory data leaking in through your eyes, ears, and skin. When the hallucination lines up with that data closely enough, you call it reality. You never question it. Why would you? It feels completely seamless. It is not seamless. It only feels that way. Here is proof you can find on your own face. Close one eye, stare straight ahead. Somewhere off to the side of your vision, there is a hole. A blind spot, created by the exact point where your optic nerve exits the back of your eye. A patch of retina with no light receptors at all. You have had this hole since the day you were born. You have never seen it, not once. Your brain detects the missing patch and quietly fills it in with whatever pattern surrounds it. Wallpaper, carpet, open sky, manufacturing visual information that was never there and handing it to you as fact. That is not a glitch. That is the default setting. In 1989, psychologists Helene Intraub and Michael Richardson ran an experiment that revealed how far this goes. They showed people close-up photographs of ordinary scenes, a trash can, a fence, a chair, then later asked them to draw what they remembered seeing. Almost everyone drew more than the photograph actually contained. They added background that had been cropped out of frame entirely. They were not lying. They were not guessing wildly. They genuinely remembered seeing things that were never in the picture at all. Intraub named the effect boundary extension. Your brain does not just fill gaps in your vision. It fills gaps in your memory, automatically, confidently, without ever flagging the difference between what you actually saw and what it quietly added afterward. So if your brain edits a photograph you looked at for 3 seconds, what is it doing to the bedroom you wake up in every single day of your life? There is another gap, smaller and far more frequent, happening to you right now as you take in these words. Your eyes do not glide smoothly across a scene the way you imagine they do. They jump. Several times a second, your eyes snap from point to point in tiny, rapid movements called saccades, and during each one of those jumps, your vision shuts off completely. Not dims, shuts off. If a camera recorded what your eyes record during a saccade, the footage would be an unwatchable blur. You never see that blur. Your brain quietly deletes each one and stitches the next steady image directly onto the last, smoothing thousands of blackouts a day into something that feels like one continuous, unbroken view of the world. You have been going blind, briefly and repeatedly, since the moment you opened your eyes this morning. You have never once noticed. But here is the part no one talks about. There is a neurological condition called Anton-Babinski syndrome. It can occur after certain kinds of damage to the brain's visual cortex, the part that processes what your eyes send it, not the eyes themselves. People with this condition are completely blind, total vision loss, and they have no idea. Ask one of them what they see, and they will answer you, calmly, confidently. They will describe the color of the wall in front of them. They will tell you what you are wearing. They will mention that the lighting in the room feels a little dim today. None of it is true. None of it is real. They are inventing every word of it in real time with no awareness that they are doing so. Doctors will walk these patients across a room and watch them collide with furniture they swore seconds earlier they could see perfectly clearly. Hold up a hand and ask them to describe it. They will, in detail, while looking at nothing at all. For years, physicians assumed these patients were lying or in denial, performing some kind of psychological defense against the trauma of going blind. That explanation does not hold up. Brain imaging shows something else entirely. The visual cortex sits completely silent while the regions responsible for narrative and confidence stay fully online, manufacturing a visual world out of nothing and presenting it as lived, trustworthy experience. This is not a rare malfunction, safely outside the boundaries of normal human experience. It is the brain's default setting turned up loud enough that the disguise finally slips. Every brain does this. Every single one, every single day. Yours included. The only difference between you and a patient with Anton-Babinski syndrome is how much real data your brain has on hand before it starts filling in the rest. And nowhere is that gap bigger than the first few seconds after you wake up. Right now, somewhere in the handoff between sleep and waking, your visual cortex restarts before your eyes have finished adjusting. Light receptors are still recalibrating. Eye muscles are still stiff from hours of stillness, and yet almost instantly you already know exactly where you are. You know the ceiling, you know the window, you know which side of the bed you are lying on without checking, without thinking. That is not your eyes working fast, that is your brain refusing to wait for them. Sleep researchers call the fog right after waking sleep inertia, a window lasting several minutes where reaction time, memory, and judgment are measurably impaired, even though you feel fully awake. Studies on the phenomenon, going back to work by sleep scientists in the 1970s and refined ever since, show your performance during that window can dip to levels comparable to mild intoxication. And running on that degraded information, your brain leans even harder on prediction to paper over the gap. It reaches into stored memory, the version of your room it built yesterday, and the day before that, and 1,000 mornings before that, and projects it forward onto today, confident the past is still an accurate map of the present. Most mornings it is. Your room rarely changes overnight, but your brain is not checking. It is betting. It is wagering that yesterday's prediction will be close enough, and that bet pays off so reliably, morning after morning, that you never once notice it was a bet at all. You think you are seeing your room. You are actually seeing yesterday's room re-rendered with just enough fresh data stitched in to keep the illusion airtight. So why does any of this matter beyond a strange fact to mention at breakfast? Because the same machinery that fills in your bedroom every morning fills in everything else too. It fills in the tone of a text message before you have finished reading the second line. It fills in what a coworker meant by a short, clipped reply. It decides in advance what kind of day you are about to have based on nothing but yesterday's prediction, and then quietly edits the incoming data until it matches. This is the same mechanism researchers point to when they explain why two people can read the exact same message and walk away with two completely different conclusions about the sender's tone. The words did not change. The prediction running underneath the words was different to begin with, and each brain filled in the rest with total confidence, never once labeling the gap as a guess. Neuroscientist Carl Friston has spent years formalizing this into what he calls the free energy principle, the idea that your brain's central job, its only job, is minimizing the gap between what it expects and what actually happens. Perception, in that frame, is not a window onto the world. It is a tool for reducing surprise. A brain that predicts well survives. A brain that waits for perfect information does not survive at all. There was never enough time in the history of your species for caution to win. You do not experience your life raw. You experience your brain's best guess about your life, corrected only when reality pushes back hard enough to force an update. Most of the time, it never pushes back at all. The guess simply becomes the memory. The memory becomes the story. The story becomes who you believe you are. Think about what that means for the version of you that exists right now, reading this. How much of today have you actually verified? How much have you simply assumed the way you assume the ceiling is still there before you open your eyes? The argument you are dreading having later this week, the one you have already rehearsed in your head a dozen times. Has it actually happened yet? Or is that just another prediction, dressed up as memory, waiting to shape how you walk into the room? This is why two people can sit through the same meeting and leave with opposite impressions of how it went. Why an old friend can read total warmth into a one-word reply, while a stranger reads the same word as cold. Nothing about the data changed. Only the prediction underneath it did, and each brain delivered its guess with the exact same unshakable confidence it uses for something as simple as a bedroom ceiling. Tomorrow morning, before your alarm even finishes its first sound, your brain will already be drawing the room around you. Walls, ceiling, the exact shade of light slipping through the blinds. It will hand you that picture with total, unblinking confidence, the same way it has handed you one every single morning of your entire life, and you will believe it completely. You always do.